Hello all, and welcome to our training for our new Vista product through Prosperity Life Group. It is certainly our honor and privilege to be joining your entire group. We are excited to be working with you, and we are thrilled to have the opportunity to present the new Vista product today to the entire group. So with that, I'd like to get started. My name is Jack Heller. I am the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Prosperity Life. And it's certainly, as I said earlier, my pleasure to be here today. So our new Vista life insurance product is our final expense premier product, and it is underwritten through SUSA. Now, just to give you a little background, though, Prosperity is actually a holding company, and we own numerous companies, some that you might have heard of. The primary one is Shenandoah Life Insurance Company. Shenandoah, for those of you who have been in the business for a while, will remember Shenandoah is one of the premier final expense carriers for about 40 years in the marketplace. We also own the SBLI Life Insurance Company out of New York. That's the Savings Bank Life Insurance Company in New York. And as I said, the SUSA Life Insurance Company that we'll be talking about today that the new Vista product is underwritten through. Prosperity is an A- excellent rated company. We do have about 320,000 policies in effect, and we have over $12 billion in life insurance in force. So a solid company and one that I think you'll really enjoy working with. You know, some of the benefits for those for newer into the final expense space, why do people like the final expense product? Well, one, there's an immediate increase in the cash available for final expense. Two, the premiums are guaranteed, fixed, level premiums, not guaranteed not to increase. You're also guaranteed lifetime coverage. So once you have this policy in place, as long as you continue to make your premium payments, we will continue to have coverage there for you. There is cash value available for emergencies. And as you'll see in a few minutes when we get to the application, it is a very simplified underwriting process and a very simplified application process. So why would you want to sell Prosperity over some of the other companies out there? You know, there's a lot of great companies out there in the final expense space. Certainly, you'll find we all have little niches in the space, but one of the things, or a few of the things that I really like about our product, one is we pay the same commission, whether it's a level plan, a graded plan, or a modified plan, no matter what the age. So our ages are 50 to 80. Level, graded, and modified, we'll pay the same commission on. We currently accept Visa and MasterCard. That includes also the Direct Express card, and we are also allow you to pick the Wednesday. If somebody wants to tie their draft date in with their Social Security payment, you can pick the second, third, or fourth Wednesday, as long as any other day during the month, as long as it's between the 1st and the 28th. We do advance daily on issue. So you don't have to wait till it's actually been paid. The one exception to that is the credit card payments. We do not advance on credit card payments. We have very diabetic-friendly underwriting. And as I said earlier, peace of mind knowing your clients are insured by an A-excellent rated company. So our issue ages on our policy are 50 to 80. The expiring age is 121. The face amounts go all the way down to $1,500. I know a lot of your other carriers start at $5,000. We go down to $1,500 up to $35,000. The risk and rating classes are tobacco or non-tobacco, male, female. And on our tobacco, you'll see in a minute, is cigarettes only. We'll talk about that. Premiums are based on the issue age, gender, and smoking. And then you can direct bill if you want, annually, semi-annually, or quarterly, or we do EFTs or credit cards, again, annual, semi-annual, quarterly, and monthly. So you can do monthly and EFT and credit cards. We do have a $40 policy fee. It is commissionable. One of the big questions that always gets asked. So yes, it is commissionable. It can either be paid, you know, it's billed on however your insured wants to be billed. So if they're being annual, it'll come in one lump sum. If it's monthly, it'll be $3.60 a month on there. We do have our underwriting decisions, And we'll talk about this, and Candace will be joining us shortly to talk about Aptical and how we use Aptical. Aptical is our third-party vendor who does all of our call verifications, and she'll go through all the different ways that you can do that. But we do give instant point-of-sale decisions. We run an MIB check. We run a prescription check. We have a height and weight chart, so we'll go through all of that to make sure that everybody understands how all those rules work. We do have an accelerated death benefit feature. So should your insured be diagnosed with a terminal illness, the accelerated death benefit feature will allow them a portion of the policy proceeds. And then we also have an accidental death benefit rider. And again, we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. So that just gives you a little overview and summary. So let's look at the plans themselves. Our level plan, and as I said, all of our plans are age 50 to 80. The level plan gives your death benefit on the first day of coverage. So if somebody picked a $20,000 policy, as of day one upon being covered, they would be entitled to $20,000 if they were to pass away. Our accelerated death benefit feature is an additional 50% or up to 50% of the death benefit. Now, if you look across that entire slide, you'll see it's 50% on all three policies. Again, I do know some companies allow above 50%, but most companies do not allow an accelerated death benefit on either your graded or your modified plans. We allow 50% on all three. And then, like I said, the optional death benefit or optional accidental death benefit rider is 1 times the base amount. So you have your level plan. Then you also you have your graded plan. Graded plan is 30% of the face amount year 1, 70% of the face amount year 2, and starting year 3 is the full face amount. On the modified, we will pay an ROP, return of premiums, of 10% if they pass away in the first year. We'll pay an additional or a total of 31% if they pass away in year 2, and we'll pay the full face amount in year 3. One other thing that's a little different than some of your other carriers, if somebody were to buy a graded or a modified plan and they were to pass away in the first year, we will not charge you back for any earned premium or earned commission. So any time that the customer has paid that month's premium and you've earned your commission, you'll keep that even if they were to pass away in, say, month 6 or month 7. Okay? So how do we know which plan they qualify for? Again, very simple. You'll know the answer to this, providing the customer has been fully truthful with you. You'll know as soon as you fill out your application. If not, sometimes, we do deal with people who get a little forgetful at times, and sometimes we do need for Aptical to point those forgetful things out to us. But, you'll look at your height and weight chart. We'll go through medical questions 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's take a quick look at the application. So first question on the application, I always pause here for a minute to make sure that we are at full understanding here. Our smoker rates are, has the proposed insured smoked cigarettes in the past 12 months? If the answer is yes, they are a smoker. If they smoke a pipe, a cigar, cannabis, vape, e-cigarettes, e-cigars, whatever the case might be, that does not count. They would be listed as a non-smoker. Okay, we do have the height and weight. The height and weight chart, I think you'll find to be extremely liberal. I am 6 foot tall, and if I was under 340 pounds, I would qualify for a plan through our company. So when you see the height and weight charts, you'll see they are extremely liberal. Okay. Part A, if any of these questions are answered yes, the person unfortunately does not qualify for the new Vista insurance plan. Okay. And those are your pretty standard questions. I'm not going to go through them all right there. You can all read them and see them, but pretty standard questions that I think most of your fully underwritten final expense plans do have in play. Part B, if they answer yes to any of the questions in Part B, they would be eligible for a modified plan. Now, one thing that's a little different from us than some of your other carriers, and again, this is all about trying to save your time and allow you to get through this process as quickly as possible. once the person answers yes to one of these questions, you do not even need to go through the rest of the application. So for instance, if the person had said, yes, I had a heart attack, congestive heart failure in the past 2 years, we would know they qualify for modified. At that point, I don't care if they've had multiple DUIs because you can only be modified one time. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. And then on part C is your graded death benefit plans. And these are a little bit different. Has the proposed insured ever been diagnosed, treated, or prescribed? So this is ever on the first part of these questions. So that would be your Parkinson's, your lupus, your sickle cell, your cirrhosis, hepatitis, liver disorders, kidney failures, or chronic kidney diseases, COPD, emphysema, black lung, and tuberculosis. So those are your only ever questions on your application. So again, pretty simple. Once you're done, you'll know. When we talk about the applical process, you'll actually be able to see how you'll get your instant decisions, okay? Once we go through that, and I'll skip over this process real quickly, but we will need to verify that you have your customer, it's the correct person, and you have the application completed properly. Today, we have a paper application. We have a voice signature application. Sometime in the next, says 90 days here, hopefully less time than that, you'll have your e-application where you'll have an instant underwriting decision and you won't even need to call Aptical. You'll be able to just submit it through there. You'll also have your mobile application on your smartphone. Both of these things we expect to have out no later than January 1st. And then the voice signature for non-face-to-face actually has already gone live. So we'll talk about that with Candace again in a minute. Okay. We do have all of your brochures. We have your sales materials available for you. So anything that we can provide for you, we are happy to do so. We also have a completely paperless application process for you to get signed up to sell through Prosperity. And again, your upline manager will be sending you a link so that you can do that. And again, just as a recap, we do pay the same commissions on your level, your graded, on your modified plans. We do accept Visa and MasterCard, including Direct Express. We do advance daily on issue, not on draft, with the exception of credit cards. We are very diabetic-friendly underwriting, and I think you'll find our smoker rates, even if the person does qualify for smoking, to be some of the most competitive out in the marketplace. So it's a really very simple policy to go ahead and sell, but offers great peace of mind to your customers. I think you'll find it among one of the best out in the marketplace. There's certainly a niche that we will, I'm sure you'll enjoy. Some companies, every company I should say, has their little niches that tend to be the best about what they do. So like I said, we do have a height and weight chart. I know some companies don't. So if somebody is a little under tall, that might be a better avenue for them to go on. But with that, I'll turn it over to Candace, and she can actually go through our applicable procedure.
All right, thanks, Jack. So let me just get this going here for you. So just to pick up where Jack left off, we do offer a voice signature application in conjunction with our, face-to-face sales process. So if you're selling over the phone or in a call center, this is an excellent resource to use. It's done through Aptical's online portal called LiveApp. So you'll hear that terminology used sometimes, and it just means that this is Aptical's web portal. So once you become contracted, and if you're new coming in, you will automatically be given credentials to log into Aptical's website upon receiving your welcome email. So for all of those of you who are brand new, all this information will come to you in the form of an email as soon as your contracting is complete. So it's going to direct you to this web.aptical.com/liveapp website. You'll use the username that's provided in the email to you as well as the password. Now, once you log in, you can change the password to something that you feel like you can remember. But you'll see that this basically mimics the paper application that you looked at with Jack just a minute ago. And as soon as you log in, you'll select New Application to get started. There's also a rate calculator there. If your customer happens to be, a little unsure at the beginning, you can go ahead and play with the rates. The rate calculator on the website actually allows you to input a monthly premium amount, and then that will generate the face amount that corresponds with what their budget is. So it's a handy calculator. So from there, you'll start the application and select which state your customer is located in, and just make sure that you are licensed to sell in that particular state. This will prompt you through selecting the company, which is SUSA or Prosperity Life, as you can see here. The product is now called NuVista Voice. Again, this is an identical product to the traditional NuVista, just means that it's collecting a voice signature instead of a wet signature. So at the bottom of the screen, you'll see 3 buttons. On each screen, it says Previous, Next, or Stop. So as you work your way through these questions, you'll hit the Next button, and if at any point in time your customer needs to drop off and can't complete the process, you'll hit Stop. It'll save the information where you are so that you can pick it back up later on. And of course, to move back, you'll just hit the Previous button. So again, here's a picture of the rate calculator I was just referring to. You will fill in all the information across the top, and again, you can either select to quote a particular face amount or premium amount. And when you hit calculate, you're going to see 3 different premium amounts pop up there for the level, the graded, and the modified plan. So hopefully at this point, you've already determined which plan your customer is going to qualify for and select that one. And then from there, you can create your application. So it's going to ask the exact same questions that are notated on the paper application. You're just going to walk through all these yes or no questions. Any question with a red exclamation point beside it means that you have to answer that question in order to proceed. It's going to ask you a couple of times throughout this process if you are replacing a policy. It's very important to note that you are not able to replace a policy through this voice signature portal. Those can only be done in a face-to-face with a paper application. You'll also notice on the part 2 is forms provided. So this is the part that actually talks about the disclosures that would normally be handed to your client in person. You have the option to email these disclosures ahead of time to your customers, and this will save them quite some time listening to recorded playbacks of these. So before you actually start the interview with the Aptical representative, you'll want to download these disclosures from the user guide that will be provided to you in your welcome email. Download those and go ahead, save them to your computer so that you can email them to your customer if they have an email address. If they don't, the other option, of course, is they will listen to recordings of these. So you'll select yes or no whether you've emailed these to your customer ahead of time. Then you'll fill in all their basic information, contact info, social security, date of birth. You'll move on. Again, like I said, it's going to ask you a couple of times whether you're replacing. It just wants to make sure you understand that this is not a method to replace a policy with. You'll collect payment information, fill in the blanks as noted, whether you're doing a credit card. We can only accept Visa and MasterCard, and as Jack noted, we are able to accept the Direct Express. Those are MasterCards typically, but we just don't pay any advances on those. Just keep that in mind when you're collecting those. It's going to ask you to confirm all of the information. And again, this is really just fill in the blank. It's the same information you would see on the paper application. Collect all your primary beneficiary information and then contingent. And then here, just on the last page, you're going to fill in your agent certification. You're going to sign by voice once you get to the interview process. Make sure that your phone number and email address are listed here as well as your agent number. And then at this point, you have the option to finish. And this means that you've completed all of your work. And when you click finish, hopefully at this point, just a reminder, you'll be sending over the emails to your customer. You're going to see a pop-up on the screen that gives you a telephone number to call for Aptical. The option on this one is extension 3 or option 3 on your phone, and you'll see that it's giving you an application ID number. This is helpful to give to the interviewer so that they can pull that application that you've already started with them up very quickly. They can also find the application by your producer name and number. So if you don't have the application ID or you clicked OK and lost that box, don't worry. They will find the application with your name, the agent's name, as well as the your number. All this information is already in their system. So at this point, you're going to go ahead and do the three-way call to Aptical. And here's what you can expect. You will be required to stay on this phone call with your customer the entire time. If there is a separate owner of the policy, that party must also be on the telephone call. Everything will be recorded from start to finish. And they're going to go through and ask you to validate the entries that you've provided and collect your signature as well as the customer's after they do the health questions with them. They'll render the background, or they'll pull the background prescription history checks and the MIB, and from there they'll give you a decision. Now, if by chance a few times they find something that the customer either forgot about or didn't realize that they were answering a question correctly, if something comes up, they will at that point in time offer to counter if that's applicable. So if your customer has applied for level but they come back and counter with graded, they will then requote that and make sure that your customer is comfortable with that payment amount. So once everybody's happy with it, you will both sign off on it and submit the application, and then Aptical takes over from there. There is no further action required by the agent. The Aptical interviewer will then submit the application with the voice signature over to the home office for processing, and typically those are turned around the very next day. So if you ever have a question about what's going on with your policy, you can always log back in and you'll see a list of everyone that you've started an application for, and it will tell you the status, whether you have completed the interview or if it's ready and it's pending interview. It gives you a very nice summary of what's going on with each application. And then when the application comes over to us, we typically can turn it around sometimes the same day if it's early in the day, and if not, by the very next day. And then commission cycles will run that night, and generally your payment goes out the next day following that. So it's a very smooth process. We've had a lot of success with it thus far, and we continue to solicit any feedback that you have on this, and this is how we make improvements to the program. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Jack.
Thank you, Candace. Great job. And one of the things that I would point out on this is that we have worked very hard on our Aptical procedure. I know a lot of companies out there, agents don't like because they get on the phone for 20, 25 minutes. Our average call to Aptical is under 12 minutes right now. Of course, the one thing that drives that average and helps keep you off the phone or as short a time as possible on the phone is having an email address to send those disclosures to. If you're doing it over the phone, if you're face-to-face, you'll have, they'll ask you the question, where did you deliver the email disclosures? And again, those disclosures, if they don't need to read them, can save you anywhere from 4 to 7 minutes, depending on what state you're in. So it's a very simple process. I will tell you that we've been using Aptical for 7, 8 months now. We had a few hiccups in the beginning, but I will tell you now it is very, very rare when I hear of any issues at all that go along with that. So great process. Like I said, the next step will be the actual e-app process, where you will not need to call Aptical. The application will go through Aptical's underwriting engine and will issue or render a decision right there for you if you so choose to use the e-app process. So with that, certainly it's our pleasure to welcome the whole group into Prosperity Life, and we certainly are going to look forward to working with you. If you have any questions, concerns at all, please do not hesitate to let us know. As Candace said, the only way we improve is by you guys giving us your feedback. We are here to support you, and anything we can do, please let us know. Have a great day.